I mean, I'm in a suit every day, and every day someone's asking where I got the suit, so it's easy for me to advertise when I'm wearing my suit. Um, but yeah, that's probably. I mean, the feeling that I get. I mean, usually at Starbucks or almost always someone will come up to me and be like, "Hey man, like where did you get that suit? Or what do you do for a living? Why you look, why you dress so well?" So that's kind of validating for me more than anything. My name is Danny Bassi, and I own Modello Bespoke Suiting. Simple answer: I sell custom suits and shirts to people who need them, but I make people dress better. All my suits are handmade from scratch based on my customer's measurements. So we take about 32 measurements to capture every single aspect, every unique curve of their body to make sure that when the suit, when they put on the suit, it feels like it was made for them. We have about 700 to 800 fabric swatches available. So when a client comes in, I'll typically ask them what they're looking for. Is it daytime suit, an evening suit? Accordingly, we'll look at or what season it is. If it's summer, you want something a bit more bright and colorful, what their budget is and what kind of look they're going for. Thanks to social media, most people come with a picture, and that makes my life a lot easier. But and then based on that, I can kind of guide them towards a direction that I think would work. If they bring in something that I think will look ridiculous, I will probably tell them that. And if they still insist on making it, then I will. But most times they kind of refrain from that. So when I was at UBC studying accounting, I took an entrepreneurship class. And for the class, we as a group had to come up with a project that we would kind of work on for a product or a service that we would work on, pitch for a full year. And at the end, we were going to present it to real venture capitalists. Not for funding, but just for judging. And even then, I mean, it was a group of 6 of us, but the idea was kind of what I presented. That was my idea. And because I was born and raised in India, and I knew how the whole manufacturing, the suits and everything works there. So we kind of did that project. Even at the time, I didn't have any plans to pursue it, so it was kind of done, and I graduated. I got a job, and then at some point, I got the itch to try it out. Through conversations, I mean, I had some family back in India, and I had kind of talked to them about it for just while I was doing research, and I mean, I couldn't remember a specific point where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Even when I did it, it wasn't like, okay, now I have to start up where I'm gonna need funding. It was just, I made a suit, okay, how did it look? Not good. Let's try again. Let's try again. I wasn't a company, it was just me making suits. I wanted to make sure before I start selling the product, I wanted to be perfect. So that's what I did for almost over a year. And once I felt like, okay, this is something that I could have other people wear, that's when I started selling and became more of a company. So, I just kind of got things rolling. And to me, I'm a big believer in making the product speak for itself. I don't like to advertise necessarily. I just want to make sure my product is so good that I don't have to sell it. And having, Instagram and things like that make my job easier. All I have to do is make sure my clients look good, and my job's done. It makes me feel good when people put on that suit and they get that feeling. Like the reason why I do what I do now, why I'm continuing to grow and continuing to do this, is the personal connection that I have with my clients. So when I get that text that, hey Danny, just put on the suit, it feels amazing, looks amazing, that's someone who would describe themselves as not even a suit guy, like that. They don't even like wearing suits, but when I get that message from them, that's what makes me like, okay, that made me happy. I think that's kind of like the key, that I want to keep getting that message from all my clients. Okay, that feels really good. I'm so happy with what I got. So someone is out there selling for me as we're talking because I made sure they look good in the suit that I gave them. Right? So I treat every product like, if I wouldn't wear that suit, I wouldn't recommend that to anyone. I wouldn't make that for someone else. So I think it makes my job a lot easier. So maybe there's some selfish reason there too. But it just, I don't know, I don't want to purposely do bad for anyone. That just doesn't happen. I can't do that. So I think just making sure that someone dresses well and looks good, I mean, that changes how they feel. And if I can impact that, that's pretty empowering. You get carried away, like, yeah, I started the business because I saw a need and I wanted to make money doing it, but that's not why you continue. That might be the reason why you start. after a while you stop paying attention to the money, you start paying attention to the satisfaction that you're getting. And if you can do that, then you can be happy doing whatever you're doing. Because if you're stuck on the money, there's always more money. There's always more you can make. There's always more you can do. You're never going to be happy, and you're going to forget about the people that are making it. And you're just going to focus on whatever you're charging, and just kind of, you know, like if sometimes, you know, if a client, a suit fits good, I think it looks amazing, they're not happy, or they, you know, 2 months later they realize that, oh, maybe they want a little bit more. So sometimes I'll just do it complimentary, like I'll you know, get their alterations done on me, just to make sure that, okay, you know, you want this, you get it. Even though, you know, after a certain point it's not reasonable for a client to expect that, because your body keeps changing. I can only guarantee how you came to me. That's how the suit's gonna fit you. But if you put on 15 pounds, you know. But if a client's reasonable and I like that, you know, it's not a product business, it's a relationship business, right? If your product price is after a certain point, like a high enough that it's not a big volume game, you need to treat every client like they're your only client, right? Because if they're happy with you once, they have no reason to go anywhere else. Like I have 800 fabrics available. If you've seen it somewhere, I probably have it. So if you're happy with what you got the first time, for the rest of your life, why do you need to go anywhere else? My prices are better than everyone, my products are better. So why, you know, so you just need to make sure what you're giving is at par. That's something you would want as the consumer, right? You have to put yourself in their shoes and treat it that way. I mean, money is a byproduct, right? It's not a goal. It shouldn't never be a goal. It is a goal for most people, but it shouldn't be, because money is just a means to get things, right? And those things usually only give you short-term happiness. It's the process that you need to learn to enjoy. Whether, even if you have to work, you know, 90 hours a week doing something. I know people that, you know, work from 8 a.m. till probably 10 p.m. And if I call them at 10 p.m., they're more happy than 90% of the people. Like I'll have a good friend who's an investment advisor, and he'll call me from on the way home from work at like 9:30, 10 p.m. and he's like so full of energy. I'm like, how do you do this, right? Because when you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work anymore. I guess that's a good way to put it. Like I don't think I'm actually working. Sometimes I laugh, like, oh, you know, like I don't have, my parents don't take it seriously, right? Like I'm talking clothes all day, so it doesn't feel like, it's like I'm shopping all day, you know. And to me, that's like fun. So I don't even feel like I actually have a job. That's probably the goal in monetizing a hobby, or, you know, turning whatever you enjoy doing and turning that into a monetary result. I didn't have a purpose. I went to school, like I came from India when I was 16. I went to high school here. High school was a joke compared to, it was in India, right? So grade 11, 12 were easy. I wanted to go to UBC, so that's the only place I applied. I got in. But it was like, I didn't have the work ethic. I didn't have a reason to work hard, because everything was easy. School was easy, and I was just focused on becoming Canadian at that point, right? But learning how to speak English without an accent. But I think school, I just kind of did whatever I needed to do to get a degree. I didn't really care about the grades, or because I didn't have a purpose. I feel like once you have a purpose, a why. I got that from Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher. Like, what's your why? Once you get a why, no one can stop you, because, you know, you feel it in here, like, okay, this is why I'm doing it. And that's the reminder that you need throughout the day. If you don't have a reason why you're doing anything, then you just kind of sit around. I spent most of my time at UBC playing video games. I didn't do anything. I barely went to class, you know, even though I was really good at school. But school doesn't, you know, like, grades don't mean anything after. No one has ever asked me what I got in my classes anywhere, you know. I have a degree, I don't know where it is, but, you know, it's who you become as a human being. That's what I learned from the school experience the most, is it made me the man that I am today. Not the grades, not the classes. I didn't go to most of them. I think people kind of get lost in that, the whole schooling system, and, you know, just going to classes, getting grades, applying for a job. You need to kind of see why you're doing all that, you know, because that's what's going to make you feel good about doing it every day, right? You spend most of your time working. Why not make it something that you look forward to going every morning? Well, first think, what are you doing right now? Are you happy doing it? Like, do you want to do this for the rest of your life? If not, then what's stopping you, you know? We give ourselves barriers. Yeah, passion mindset only works for athletes, right? No one is passionate about I don't know, like kids are not born passionate about wearing suits one day. You know, like it's just the sports that kind of applies to. The other side of things is the skills. So it's the 10 hours of mastering a skill, right? So that's what you need to do. You need to do something for long enough and become so good at it that you start to love it, right? Whatever job you're in, if you're the best at it, you're gonna love it. If you're the best, you know, I don't know, mortgage broker, I'm sure you're gonna be loving life. If you're the best realtor, maybe starting out it's gonna suck because everyone else is a realtor in town. But you know, if you become the best one, then you're gonna start loving it too, right? So it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's being the best at it makes you feel, you know, you've done something of value. You're the one who's gonna bring the change. So if you're not happy with your current situation, you have to figure out how to change it. You know, and most people, I mean, you know, after a certain age they give up, or you know, they'll come home after work and they'll have a couple beers. You know, it numbs down your pride, and you just go through that. You know, there's too many things going on in a day to have time to think about this. So it's easy to just get carried away into your day-to-day and just not, you know, and then one day realize, where did life go? I'm already getting those feels. Like, I don't know, I'm 28 and I'm like, some days, like I've woken up, I've gotten a glimpse of me like 13 years old in boarding school in India running, and just woken up like, shit, where did time go? You know, so I mean, I'm happy that I'm doing something that I love, but for someone that wasn't, how would they feel? Like, you know, at 30, at 40, like, you know, you don't want to just be, like, you don't want life to be guiding where you're going. You want to be in control of it. And even now I feel like that sometimes, because the schedule is so packed that, you know, when you say, oh, it's so busy right now, man, that just means that you're not on top of your shit, right? Because when you're fully organized, you have time to do everything else, you know, and it's hard to do even at, you know, after a certain point, but we have to do it if you want it bad enough, right? Everyone wants, like, on the surface, everyone wants to be cool and they want to like get money and whatever, but no one really wants to put in the work, right? So you got to find something that you're willing to put the work in and just go all out. Day to day, I'm a very feel kind of person. I'm not a logical person at all. But that's like, but at a larger scale, you have to think, you know, like, what is your life? What do you want to do? You know, but day to day, like, I'm a very emotionally driven person. I'm not, I was recently told that's typical of Taurians. I don't follow horoscopes well, but my fiance does, but I guess. But yeah, like, I'm not you know, I don't treat situations logically. When there's a customer that comes in, or, you know, whatever this case may be, I go with how I feel. If I feel good about whatever situation it is, then logic doesn't play as big of a factor. We're emotional human beings, I think. You know, logic is for computers, and maybe we forget that sometimes, right? It's all about how I feel, how I'm making you guys feel, how I'm, you know, and how you're making other people around you feel. That's what impacts your day. It's not the logic of, you know, I don't think logic plays a factor in your day-to-day. People get too buried into the logic. But maybe, you know, we are selfish people, and sometimes you overlook other people's. I mean, we're not perfect. But if you try to implement that on a day-to-day basis, you know, like, I don't know, what's your goal in life? You know, most people will say things that have to do with money and buying things. I don't think so. Like, my life in the last 2 years, I am making a lot more than I was 2 years ago, but I feel just as happy. It hasn't impacted my ability to be more happy. Maybe I can wear nicer clothes, maybe I can have a nicer car. But those are just means. Car is just something that gets me from point A to point B. Maybe it makes me feel more significant. Maybe it gives me the ability to show that I'm doing well. Because we want to feel significant, right? Whichever way it is. But the end goal is to be happy. You have X number of years to live. You want every single day to be as happy as possible. Like, to be consistently happy, think about doing things for people around you as a way. So, you know, like, if money is a byproduct of what you're doing as success, use that as a way. I'm doing it for him, her, or, you know, whoever. I find that as a bigger driving force than if it was for me. Because if I wanted to make money to buy myself a new car, I would get bored. But if I bought that car for, you know, my wife or my parents, I would feel good about it every time I looked at that car, right? So just like things like that, it's just, you tell yourself, you program little
tips in your head to program you a certain way to just make sure you're happy.